This is gonna be interesting. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. This is a new direct lever machine from a company called Strad. And today we're going to look at why I think it's better than a Flair 58. That's a very bold statement. Well, yes, it is a big statement, but let me tell you why. But to really tell you this story, I have to bring this one back. This brings me back to the Flair 58. Actually, it brings me back before the Flair 58. About 18 months ago, I made my first ever coffee YouTube video. And at the time, I was looking at all sorts of videos like James Hoffmann's videos, Lance Hendricks videos, and an awful lot more. And the one machine that always stood out to me at that time was the Flair 58. Frustratingly close to outstanding, I believe, was the thumbnail of James Hoffmann's video. Here's the god of coffee himself stating that this machine was so good, and knowing that it wasn't going to put me in debt for 5 years, it became my goal. It became the machine that I really wanted, my dream machine. So after a few months, I bought it. I bought this unit. And I have to give credit to this machine because I think it accelerated the growth of this channel. It also accelerated my knowledge and experience with espresso. What a machine it was, and still is to this day. There are a lot of videos on the internet with everyone agreeing that this is the direct lever king. But is it still the king? A lot of other 58mm lever machines have come out over the last couple of years, and to be honest, because the Flair was so good, I never gave anything else a second thought. Until now. So several months ago I saw this Strad Espresso Machine on my socials and immediately I started fizzing. I had to reach out to the company and know more about it. So after a few months of waiting, here it is. It's finally here. Well, now you might be asking, why was I so excited about this machine? Well, after speaking to the creator of this, I got a sense that it would build upon the platform of the Flair 58 and truly make something outstanding. If you're new here, please consider hitting that subscribe button. On this channel, we talk all about coffee and I try to share all my knowledge on products and workflows and things that I've learned over the last few years. I'm not a trained barista, I just love coffee and I love making videos. If you're already subscribed, welcome back and you look great today. Now Matthias at Strad Espresso did send me this machine, no strings attached, in return for making this video. But like always, they don't get to see it before you do, and my opinion is not going to be swayed one way or another. So that all out of the way, let's take a deeper look at this machine. Now you're going to recognize the design language of this immediately. It's not unlike the Flair 58, but there are some key differences. Which one do you prefer, by the way, just by looking at them? Put it in the comments below. Here's a weird fact, something you never needed to know before, but the Flair 58 is made up of 29 mechanical parts. Now I'm not including the electronics in that or the pressure gauge. 29 mechanical parts, so the body, screws, gaskets, all those kind of things. 29. The Strad, on the other hand, has 10 fewer parts than the Flair 58. In fact, the ethos of this machine is that it's supposed to be the most simple, most standardized E61 lever machine out there. And you can kind of tell from the design of this thing. It's very clean, it's very minimal, almost industrial, and it looks great. It's machined to such a high standard that everything fits together perfectly. Now, you immediately get the sense that this is absolutely a premium product. This whole water chamber brew group section is one CNC'd piece of aluminium and it looks incredible. It's a work of art. This is a beautiful thing to just look at. Of course, it's got its straight lever at the top. It's connected directly to the piston in the water chamber, and that forms a really good seal in the water chamber. Below that, we've got an IMS shower screen in here and a polished stainless steel lock for the portafilter. And that's it. It's 3.4 kilos without the portafilter, so it's stable, and it's actually quite a bit smaller than the Flair 58 in terms of footprint. But perhaps one of my favorite things about the Strad is that you don't need the same amount of headspace that you do with the Flair. That was one thing that really infuriated me about this, is that when you lift up the lever, it's very tall. That's probably not even in the frame anymore. Whereas if you lift up the Strad, it's quite a bit shorter. That's enough to get it underneath a kitchen cupboard. And another thing is that will just stay there. Whereas with the Flair, Now, as simple as this machine is, there are opportunities to upgrade it or customize it. Since it's designed to be the most standardized E61 type lever machine that's out there, it will work with a variety of different products that already exist. So there's an IMS shower screen underneath that can be swapped out to any other type of shower screen you'd like. The pressure gauge can be replaced with any other pressure gauge or even a Bluetooth sensor. You can use any E61 style portafilter, just like you can with the Flair. And actually, speaking of the portafilter, this lever uses the same M10 threads as a portafilter handle. So you could simply take this off and replace it with something else. So very nice and customizable. I actually really like that, because why not? Okay, so design is great, to me anyways, but what is it like to use? Well, it's not unlike the Flair 58. There are a couple of key differences, and first and foremost, it feels better. And what do I mean by that? Well, I think it's just put together better. Nothing rattles about, nothing is loose. One thing that always infuriated me with the Flair is that it feels like everything fits, but at any moment it might not fit. It felt like that if I applied pressure at a slightly incorrect angle on the Flair, something would go horribly wrong. And another thing that kind of annoys me about the Flair is the overly complicated design here, where the piston meets the lever. I think that's just too complicated. There's loads of little fiddly bits that kind of rattle about the place. Not on the Strad. Everything here feels really well made, really well put together, and all the seals are firm and tight, and everything just feels nicer. Everything is millimeter perfect. So let's make an espresso and see what it's like to use, see what the workflow is like. Now, the portafilter that it comes with is pretty good. Like I said, it's a standard sort of E61 with the two ears on either side. The handle is nice, though the basket is not so nice. Now, I do know that Strad will be improving the basket that it comes with, but realistically, if you're thinking of buying this machine, you probably have a few, if not many, baskets sitting around that you can replace this with. And yes, it will fit any 58mm basket, even the thicker precision baskets like the Weber Workshops Uni basket will fit in no problem. So let's just get rid of this stock basket for now. I think it's about time that we can kind of just get this out of the way. Now, one thing that it doesn't come with, at least at this time, is a shot mirror. And I think that's an absolute necessity for a direct lever machine, because you always want to get underneath and see what your shot looks like. Now, I fed that back to Matthias, and he took that on board, and while I'm mentioning it, Matthias has been absolutely amazing in his communication over the last few months, telling me about this machine, keeping me updated, and making sure that I was kind of part of the process almost. I really get the impression that while these may not be made in huge numbers, the customer service for the ones that are produced is going to be excellent. I had one pretty bold suggestion when I got using this machine, which was, and granted, not everyone is going to be in the same position as me. If you're using the Weber Workshops Uni basket, in which coffee will come out right up to the very edges, and you are using something like the Cruve Propel glass with a scale, let me just get my scale. Now I know a lot of you out there will have these Cruve Propel glasses or any of the Cruve glassware. There was a pretty big problem, and maybe if I just show you a side profile of the machine, you'll kind of see what the problem is. Even if I bring that right back as far as it can go. Yeah. So the first time I made a coffee with this machine, I made quite a mess. Now, I explained this to Matthias, and within a couple of hours, he actually sent me back a CAD mock-up of an improvement that would allow for a Cruve Propel glass, a scale, and the Weber Workshop's Unibasket. That's amazing. And I might be going on a bit of a tangent here, but it really shows that when you are a sort of small operation, a small independent operation, it shows how quickly you can make changes. A few days later, and Matthias had messaged me back saying that the new line of Strad Espresso machines would be redesigned and produced to reflect my suggested change. That's incredible. So let's make an espresso. There is no heating element in this. It's really back to traditional ways. So preheating is a must. So we're going to preheat for about 45 to 50 seconds and then we can flush out and prepare our shot. Okay, water in. Let's grind up some coffee. So let's weigh out some beans. Okay, 17.9, perfect. All right, we've got our beans. Let's give them a shake. Now, at this point, we want to flush out the water. Our portafilter is good and hot. This whole thing actually is very hot, even the stem. So let's flush out the water. Okay, get our portafilter out, give that a quick wipe down. Do a bit of WDT. Quick tap and tamp. Now, no need for a puck saver or puck screen because this does have an IMS shower screen in there. So we can just go straight in, lock it in, and in we go with our water. So we can fill it right up to the ridge. Perfect. Scale. Where's my scale gone? Just use this one. Get our espresso cup. This one does just about fit underneath, so that's going to work fine. Tear out our scale. Lift up our lever. Start our timer. I'm going to try to do this sitting down. It's going to be quite difficult, but let's see how it goes. First few drops. Six bars and dropping off. It smells incredible. One of the tastiest shots, even though it wasn't perfect by any means, one of the tastiest shots I've ever had. Wow. So we can just Get rid of the rest of our espresso. That was a 40 gram shot, so 18 in, 40 out with the Weber Uni basket. This is delicious. Good body, really balanced shot. Could I have done the same thing on the Flair 58? Probably. Could I have done the same thing on the Flair 58 sitting down from this angle? Probably not. I've been getting some really tasty shots out of this machine, and I'm really happy with the workflow of it. So the overall workflow, right, we've got a minute or so of preheating, let it flush out. For these particular beans, I use 95 degrees Celsius water for my brew water. These are pretty lightly roasted beans, high density beans, and that worked pretty well for me. That was a great shot of espresso. In fact, I'm gonna drink the rest of it. Oh. Very, very good. Okay, so very tasty coffee. A great machine to use, really well built, good materials, customizable, and it's great to look at. So you're probably wondering, how much is it? It's 690 euros, but this does make it more expensive than the Flair 58 Plus 2 even. So why is it more expensive? Well, first and foremost, they're not going to be produced in the same numbers as the Flair units. And two, these are designed and manufactured in Spain, not China. Now, I'm not saying that all cheap things come from China. By no way am I saying that. In fact, a lot of really great machines are coming out of China. There's a lot of very smart people and a lot of smart processes in China. So I'm not dissing China, but while this is being produced in small numbers in Europe, I think it does warrant that price tag. And lastly, the materials used and the quality of the build of this thing also warrants the price tag by itself. It's really well built, it's great to use, and it makes delicious coffee. So if I had to choose between this and the Flair 58, which one is going to stay on my bar? It's going to be the Strad. Anyone want to buy a used Flair 58 Plus? Now, I'll leave a link to their website below and you can check them out for yourself. Please do hit the subscribe button, it really helps this channel out, and I know that a lot of you watching are not subscribed, so please do subscribe. It really does inspire me to make more videos just like this. So what do you think? Have you seen this on your socials? Are you as intrigued as I was when I saw it? Let me know in the comments below. Let's talk about this machine because I do think this is a disruptor. They have really pulled off just making the most standardized lever machine. I'll be back with more videos on this machine over the next few weeks and next few months. But until then, I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.